Hello, genealogy friends, and welcome to this week's episode of Family Tree Notebooks TV. I am again in my car because life is busy and it's just easier to record in my car in between things. So, news for this week, genealogy news for this week. SLIG starts next week, but that means that SLIG orientation is this week. So if you're signed up for SLIG, check your email to look for that orientation link. And I'll be at SLIG. I mean, it's virtual, but I'll be attending SLIG classes. I'm taking a genealogy class this year from Paul Woodbury, and I'm really excited about it. So if you're going to be at SLIG, I will see you there. Other genealogy news. Tonight's episode of Finding Your Roots is, it's going to be Carol Burnett and Niecy Nash, and I'm really excited about it. The episode's been really good for this season. And last week I went on this whole tangent about like my Apple TV and my PBS app and how much I love it. I'm not going to repeat that, but I forgot to even mention, because it's PBS, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but you can actually watch the full episodes just on your computer for free. So you just have to go to PBS and find the show, Finding Your Roots, and you can see the link for the full episode. So that's a really easy way to watch that. In other news, Roots Tech is still coming along. Roots Tech starts in March, and they have some sort of main stage announcement thing today. It might already be up today, Tuesday, and they're just going to talk about like the main, I think like the keynotes and stuff like that. But yeah, Roots Tech news is slowly coming out. If you haven't signed up for Roots Tech yet, so the in-person Roots Tech ticket is $98. There's still tickets available. There's also a ton of giveaways still going on in January for Roots Tech tickets. So if you wanted to come in person, I would go ahead and try to enter as many giveaways as possible. And then if you don't win, then I would get a ticket. But if you just want to attend Roots Tech, the online Roots Tech is free. So all you have to do is register, and then you have access to all of the online content and you don't have to pay for it. So there's no reason not to register for Roots Tech virtual if you're not going to be seeing us in person, but I'll be there in person. So last bit of genealogy news for the week was a weird one, and it's fine. I'm not totally sure what the motivation was for this, but Family Search. So Family Search is the family history branch of the Church of Latter-day Saints, right? And they have a big building downtown. A bazillion years ago, it was called the Genealogical Society of Utah. I think that's actually what it was called when I was younger. But forever now, it's been called the Family History Library. And we all talk about going to the Family History Library, and there's little centers all over the place, and those are little family history libraries, and that's their name. Last week, Family Search announced that they were changing the name effective immediately for not only the Family History Library here, but for all of the family history libraries. And now they're called Family Search Libraries. So the big library downtown is the Family Search Library. I think that's fine. I mean, it really solidifies the fact that Family Search is the person behind the library. I was a little confused though, because honestly, it's I don't think it necessarily makes it more friendly or anything like that. I think it makes it sound a little bit more corporate, or a little bit more like, oh, I have to be a member of Family Search to use the library, which you don't. It would certainly help if you could log into your Family Search account, and Family Search is free. But I feel like for people who don't know that, I just thought that Family History Library was more, this is what it is. It is the Family History Library. Anyways, now it's going to be called the Family Search Library. I would guess it will take me at least 2 years to get used to saying that, if not longer, because I tend to be stuck in my ways. But now you know that's what we're all supposed to be calling it. Okay, for 5 quick tips this week, I wanted to talk about school records. 5 ways to find school records for your ancestors. Number 1, and the easiest, is to look for school records at home. This is going to be report cards or yearbooks, graduation announcements, class photos, things like that. Your ancestor holding on to their school records is your best bet, and it's generally the easiest way to start. That being said, let's say you have an ancestor and you don't have any information for them. It's an ancestor that there were a ton of descendants and you are a low man on the totem pole and you just don't have anything. So you're completely reliant on outside records or online records. In that case, I would go and look at local histories first for the area where the school was. Depending on when your ancestor was in school and if the area was small enough, there's a chance that the local history will actually name teachers and may even name students if it was really truly small. If your ancestor was a teacher, then you have a better chance that the local history is going to name your ancestor. Even if you're talking about a larger area or a more recent ancestor, a local history will tell you about the school. It could tell you something about the school population, the neighborhood around the school, and it should give you the location for the school. So then you can look up and actually map out where was the school when your ancestor was growing up. You can figure out the whole, like, did they really walk 2 miles in the snow uphill both ways? And that's just going to be more information for you about not necessarily your ancestors' attendance at the school, but about the school itself and what your ancestor would have been experiencing. Third tip, past local histories. Then you move to local historical societies, local history societies for the area. They will not only be able to point you towards local histories that you might have missed, there's a chance that they're going to have vertical files on the school, which is where they've just collected different articles and things like that about the school specifically. They might also have yearbooks, or they just might have like school publications too. And they may be able to give you more information about that. Fourth tip, I would go and look for publications. So this is where, if you can't find them from your local, from the local historical society, you can look on eBay. Ancestry's got yearbooks. Family Search has some yearbooks. Sometimes random little websites will have digitized yearbooks, but also remember, school newspapers are a publication. Honor rolls are a publication. So just think about the publications that would have been coming out of the school. Now, again, if you're talking about a prairie schoolhouse, early 1800s, there's 9 students. Okay, so you're not going to find a yearbook. You're not going to find a school newspaper. So this is like, looking for publications is more for larger areas, more recent schools and things like that. But I know I found great yearbooks and school newspapers and school things out of my grandparents' high school experiences, because they were in Chicago, Illinois, and there was lots of publications coming out of their high school. And then the fifth tip, and this is why I wanted to talk about this now in January, is this is where you could contact the school itself or the district office if the school is still around, or if the district that the school was in is still around. Again, this is more for more recent, last 100-ish years. The school might have their own archives, their own historical archives, or they might know who carries the historical archives, and they might just refer you to the district office, which again should know either where the archives are. I mean, you aren't going to be the only person that's calling about this stuff, so should know where the archives are or how you can get a hold of them, and should be able to guide you. And the reason that I am talking to you about this now is because you don't want to contact schools and district offices over the summer when people either aren't there or they've got limited hours. You don't want to contact at the beginning of the school year or the end of the school year, where everybody's trying to get the school year going, or they're worried about graduation and matriculation and all that sort of stuff. January is a good time because the holiday break is over. Usually they're entering into the third quarter for the school year, and things are just calmer and people are more likely to get back to you. So if you have schools or school districts that you need to contact, this is a good time. And remember, when you contact them, you want to help them as much as possible so that they can help you. So you want to give them names, you want to give them years of graduation if you know them, or years of attendance, what grades they would have been in. Any information that you can give them will help them tell you what they have, or will help them lead you towards the records that you need to look for. So they'll be able to tell you, okay, yes, we're going to have yearbooks for that time span, or we have honor rolls, but they're housed at this historical society or something like that. So those are my 5 quick tips for finding school records. For the rest of today's Family Tree Notebooks TV, I wanted to actually show you what my family history looks like at home. Like, what's my setup? How do I have my notebooks? I think sometimes when you're looking just at social media, things always look a lot more organized and a lot more together than they actually are. So I sort of wanted to do it behind the scenes. Obviously, I'm not even home right now, but I'm going to go home in a little bit, and then I will go ahead and record those videos. Okay, we're gonna do a quick tour of my family history, or how it's organized in my space, which is really kind of just a quick tour of my home office. But I've got my desk here. I've got a framed photo of 5 generations on the front. And then you can see I've got tons of books and different things. Here's where most of my family history is stored. So my family history is in disc-bound notebooks like this one. And the thing about disc-bound notebooks is it's a little annoying, is that it's not easy to put something on the spine. So I know which shelf has which family history, and the colors of the covers correspond to one particular family tree. But yeah, it's not clear. You'd have to open up the books and look if you didn't know. I also have random stuff shoved up there right now, just because I'm kind of messy sometimes. Right here, you can see I've got 4 boxes, and these have a surname on them. This is where I collect random like clippings, or I'm not even gonna open that right now, but clippings, things that need to be filed, things that need to be scanned. I keep them, and then I'll pull out a box at a time. And sometimes I just have family history stuff that needs to be saved, so those boxes are archival. I have a couple more up there that are different families or different family names. Let's see what else is here. This is my random stuff. Here you can see I've got a stash of DNA tests. I have some printed out guides, especially I think most of these are state guides, and a couple of family history, like genealogy how-to type pamphlets. Down here, most of this shelf is research binders that have to do with my Chinese side of my family. And you can see I've got these regular 3-ring binders. These are not my family trees. They are page protectors full of articles and things like that about that side of my family. A lot of that is from before I started doing my family history in notebooks, and much of it are things that were in my grandparents' archives when they passed away. Over here, I've got a letter organizer that has different page protectors, see different sizes of page protectors. So I use, like, I don't know if you guys can see these, but this is a baseball card sized one, and I use that for wallet sized photos, tin types, things like that. And then that goes all the way up to ones that hold 2 5x7 photos easily. And down here, I've just got full sheet page protectors. And up here, you can see this is my scanner. These are Ultra Pro brand, so that they are archival. Here, I've got my genealogy textbook, which I have a short video on. These are more family history archives, things that need to go in page protectors, tons of printer paper, and then of course my color printer for printing out the pages. And then here, move my chair out of the way a little bit. I have an iMac, and then there I have a laptop, and I can move this onto my desk if I need to, but most of the time it's back there. Where else? Okay, so my computers. So I pulled this up. So this is the paper index, right? And you can see that, like, I've got the names of my family that I have found, and each of these names has an index number. That corresponds with my digital files. I went ahead and pulled out the ones that I can't show you for privacy reasons. Oh, each index number has a folder on my computer that corresponds to the index. So it's their index number, their surname, the rest of their name, and then the year they were born if I know it. And each of these folders has a copy of each of the pages I've created for them in Family Tree Notebooks. It also has a copy of any records that I've downloaded, any photos that I have, basically anything that has to do with my research on that person. There's a copy inside of their folder. On my bookshelf, I have random family history books, including a lot of the books that I have on my reading list for this year. I've got sort of how-to books closer at hand. Then down here, I've got photo albums for my family, our yearbooks and things like that. And then some other family history books down there, and some more boxes which hold things like slides and things like that. And then I have a lot of other notebooks. Most of these are not family tree notebooks. They are notebooks that help me just organize my business and the rest of my life. And then again, I've got my laptop and my iPad charging right there next to my music player. Upstairs in our front room, we don't actually have a lot of family history books or albums or anything like that up here, but we do have photos. And then you can see along the top of our bookcase, a lot of that stuff, those are little items that have something to do with parts of our family history. I'm not going to go through and tell you each story, but that's stuff that's significant. And then of course we do have framed photos. Something that I have that you don't need is I have a closet that is for my family history business, and I have props and things like that. These are my archival gloves for when I need to handle things. I have magnifying glasses, little odds and ends, old cameras. A lot of these old cameras actually belong to my grandfather. I have napkins and backdrops hanging up. And then I actually have a big bin of loose photographs that don't belong to my family, and other little like props, and props up here. I have a thing for these Starbucks cups. And then my cabinet card collection, which again, this is not my family. The reason that I brought you up here when I told you I was doing a family history tour is that I have these binders and I keep them all together. And some of these binders are my family history. So these binders hold photographs in those plastic page protectors that you saw downstairs. This particular binder, these are photos that were recovered from my stepfather's family. Most of them have not been identified, but I'm keeping them together. You can see they were stored in a bad way and a lot of them were damaged. I'm keeping them together because they are all part of the same family archive. Now, occasionally I will use these when I'm shooting photos for my business, but I never want to spill coffee or food or anything on these photos. So that's the other reason that they're separated, is I'm much more careful with the ones that are truly from my family history archive. I mean, I never want to spill food on any old photos, but I'm much more cautious with the ones. This is my stepfather's grandmother. So yeah, some of these can be identified. I'm much more cautious with the photos that are actually part of our family history. I'm just trying to get down to, see, here's one of those baseball card pages, and you can see it's holding newspaper clippings and smaller images to keep them safe. But yeah, this is the best way that I've found to keep photos safe while still being able to access them. Of course, if you can, I always say digitize everything and then store the photos safely away and don't work with them, just work with the digital copies, because the less you handle your photos, the better. But that is a quick look at how my family history is organized here at home. Anyway, that's it for Family Tree Notebooks TV this week. I really appreciate you guys spending time with me. Next week, we're talking about can't miss records for your ancestors. And I will be in Slig so I can share some information about how that's going. We're going to be starting the countdown both to Roots Tech and to enrollment opening for the Family Tree Notebooks Masterclass, which I'm really excited about. People have been asking if they can be on the wait list. You can't be on the wait list. For just lots of reasons. I've done wait lists in the past, and then things have sold out before I was even able to open them because they've sold out from the wait list, which feels a little bit weird and unfair if people are not jumping on the wait list because they think that it's just going to open. Anyway, just stay posted. So the enrollment opens on March 1st. I can tell you that right now. So you've got some time. We're going to keep talking about the course and stuff like that. So you've got time to think about whether or not you want to enroll and in what level you want to enroll. So don't panic. But yeah, no wait list. Nobody's jumping to the head of the line. I'm just going to open for enrollment and we'll see what happens. Anyway, I will see you guys next week.